Let me tell you the tale of Quillan Fenwick, though in Waterglimmer Bazaar, most simply called him Quill, a title easier to shout in alarm when spell-splattered fruit started flying across stalls. In the heart of that chattering kaleidoscopic market, where illusions shimmered in the morning light and vendors hollered bargains in languages known and unknown, Quill made his home and living as best he could, and usually to the tune of a recent disaster. Unlike other warlocks, draped in shadow and ready with icy whispers, Quill was a wiry figure all elbows and knees, with wild hair forever resisting gravity and a wardrobe stitched from enchanted charity and fleece from the smiling sheep 3 stalls down. In a world of order and charm, his spells exploded in a chaos all their own. Why, just last week, he'd meant to summon a breeze and accidentally caused a whirlwind of floral-scented confetti, briefly blinding the street magician jugglers and inspiring a citywide trend in impromptu flower crowns. Quill's secret, which by bazaar standards made him rather interesting, if not gainfully employed, was the voice in his head. Not his conscience, much louder and far less helpful than that. It was Aziraz, an ancient djinn of the burning sands, who had made a pact with Quill one sunny afternoon, after a bet about who could fit the most custard tarts in their mouth. But that's another story. Aziraz was not, strictly speaking, easy to control, or, more generously, simply refused to be controlled. If there was a rule, say, do not turn ferrets into foghorns, Aziraz would insist it was worth seeing at least once. Even as Quill tried to walk the straight and narrow, he was forever chasing after the ripples of his patron's unruly magic. So when Quill set up his modest warlock's booth, Quill's quick charms and affordable hexes, satisfaction not always guaranteed. Every spell was its own act of mayhem, and every customer a potential bystander in a fireworks display of unintended hilarity. As sunlight shimmered off spell wards hanging from awnings, Quill tucked an escape scroll up his sleeve for the 4th time that morning. Just another day, Azzy. 1 simple mending cantrip, 0 transfigured trousers, he muttered inwardly. You're so dull before breakfast, little master, Aziraz sighed, voice trickling through his mind like honey off the spoon. What about bedazzling that customer's shoes instead? Quill pressed his lips tight, but mischief danced in his veins as surely as magic itself. He knew in his heart that no plan survived Aziraz's attention, and that, despite all protests, he was never truly unhappy in the wake of their chaos. He heard a throat clear and found Mrs. Pimble, the formidable halfling hatter, brandishing a teapot that poured rainbows instead of tea. If you please, young Quill, undo whatever you did to my bestseller. Quill forced a confident smile and brandished his wand, a willow switch, a little too bendy and patched up with ribbon. He focused, concentrated. Aziraz purred mischievously. With a sigh, Quill let the magic surge forth. There was a crackle, a sour whiff of ozone, and Mrs. Pimble's teapot immediately began to belt out opera. That is not an improvement, Mrs. Pimble shrieked. Quill blinked. Art speaks to the soul, Aziraz chuckled. You really ought to charge extra for that. Chaos followed him like a loyal hound. So too did laughter, the most irrepressible sort, fueled by children in the crowd clapping for encores and delighted market-goers attempting to mimic the teapot's high notes with less success and greater glee. As the sun reached its playful zenith, the bazaar itself shimmered with possibility. But shadows lurked, and from beneath the cobblestones twined something colder, sharper, the shudder of wards flickering, the scent of sour magic, the sharp hush that falls before the storm, the order of the polished gem, all sashes and righteous indignation, arrived to inspect the magical vendors with their air of practiced disapproval. Quill's hands trembled as he watched them, but Aziraz, naturally, was already humming an irreverent tune. The polished gem are always so terribly bored. A dab of excitement, perhaps? The enforcers strode up to Quill's booth. Their leader, Inspector Malvernus, peered over round spectacles. State your license and declare your patron. Quill nervously held out his papers. A bead of sweat formed. "Aziraz the Unyielding, at your service," came the voice, not only in Quill's head this time, but booming forth, rippling the very air. Inspector Malvernus scowled. "We have had 7 spontaneous rainstorms and 4 animate feathered hats in the past week. We need assurances, Mr. Fenwick." Quill fought the urge to leap behind the booth. "Everything is under control." He tried to demonstrate a simple cantrip of harmless sparkle. Instead, with a pop, a herd of tiny illusory camels began prancing in perfect formation, singing an endless chorus of market jingles. The crowd erupted in cheers. Behind his eyes, Aziraz cackled with pleasure. "Order is overrated, Quill." At that moment, a chilling wind swept through the bazaar, banishing the scent of candied spice and chilling marrow. Blue fire flared from an enchanted stall at the bazaar's heart. Cracks showed in the very fabric of the warding spells, familiar, intricate, and Quill realized with a pang that they were his own handiwork gone awry during an episode of overly enthusiastic spellcasting. I know those runes," he whispered, horror blossoming. "Worry not, little master. We can fix things." "My way," Aziraz said, anticipation in every syllable. His feet moved before his mind caught up. Quill dashed toward the mounting calamity. The other mages hesitated, unwilling to approach the rift. Quill, mad with fear and hope, hurled himself forward. "Azzy, help me channel this, but please, focus." The djinn's laughter turned fierce, alive with energy. Their power surged through Quill's fingertips, but so too did unpredictability. He tried to guide the mend, speaking words of artistry and reason. Instead, a blizzard of multi-hued soap bubbles erupted, inside each a tiny illusion: clowns, dancing cats, spinning coins. The edges of the rift wavered. Aziraz's will and Quill's own intermingled in a shivering tapestry of sense and nonsense. It shouldn't have worked. It could never have worked, but in the prism of their impossible friendship, order found shape in chaos. The rift knitted itself, the blue fire guttered, and laughter and wonder spread like warmth after frost. Exhausted, Quill collapsed onto all fours. The enforcers stared. Mrs. Pimble, voice hoarse from shouting at the teapot's final aria, started the applause. The market chorus joined her. Inspector Malvernus lifted an eyebrow, almost smiling. Messy, unconventional, but it worked. Perhaps Waterglimmer can use a touch of chaos. Quill, breathless, let a slow smile break across his face. "I tried for order, and found magic and madness instead. Maybe this is what I'm meant to be. Maybe so are we." Aziraz, warm with delight, whispered, "That's my little master." Quill's booth remained, though its sign gained an extra addendum: Quill's quick charms, affordable hexes, miracles on request, may involve dancing teapots. Perhaps in the cacophony of the bazaar, there was always room for one more laugh, and one more unexpected friendship. So if you find yourself in Waterglimmer someday, and wish for mischief, redemption, or even a little magic beyond your control, seek out Quill. You might leave transformed, and not just in the way you expect. Does chaos make a mess, or make us whole? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Suggest our next tale, and who knows, perhaps your hero or villain will take a turn by firelight soon.